Hello, so today's stream for about an hour is going to be about radiation. Now, can you see me? Because, there we go. Just now the actual preview thing hasn't shown up. What time is it at the moment in Australia? I imagine it's quite early, isn't it? You've got a completely appropriate picture for this stream, Killstrike Gaming. So what I have on my desk, and I'll turn the Geiger counter on at the moment, is basically my own little demon core. I've got all my radioactive stuff inside this little uranium glass bowl, because this arrived in the post today. So this is where they used to think it was a good idea to use uranium glass to make household products from. It's not that hot on the Geiger counter, but with all the other radioactive stuff in there, it's going to be fairly hot now. So I'll turn the Geiger counter on in a minute, and we can listen to a Geiger counter ticking in the background to make some good background noise for today's stream. Ah, you're up early then, or late, to watch this stream. My little thing will tell me if it's 3.5 Rontgen. Not yet, because it's not been in there long enough. Right, so here we go. Geiger counter's on. Now let's put it into my bowl. There we go. I'd only recommend a GP5 for prepping if you can get a, new filter for it. So, yep, uranium glass is very pretty looking. It also looks really cool under UV light. Let me show you. Under UV light, uranium glass has this lovely green sheen to it. But, yeah. And to give you some idea of all my radioactive stuff put in one place. Don't know how you can see that, but dangerous. Oh, shit. That was only the thing. Oh, its little alarm's going to be sounding now. Tell you what, let me just try and find a way of turning the alarm off on the Geiger counter, because I don't want the alarm to be going, because that will be irritating. I want the clicking in the background, but not the alarm. Options... sound, dose sound, I guess that's the one I want. No, so I definitely want sensor sound, because that's that noise, but the ticking, but there we go. Why would I be selling my SLR? I can't legally sell it anyway, because it's an old spec deactivation by this point, which means I'd have to pay to have them deactivate it even more to sell it. Very slim, I'd imagine, Zeppelin. That's interesting. Is that because it's basically a Mark IV NBC suit, but just put with a different camo pattern on? What do you mean, the live chat itself doesn't have ads? There's no ads in the actual chat. Oh, I thought I'd turn that beeping off, but apparently not. So yep, this stream will be all about radiation, so the Geiger counter will make a good background noise for it. So we can look up some fairly interesting things and talk about them in this chat. And as I've said before, keep the chats on topic. Anybody's going to get a timeout in this one if they keep talking about shit that has nothing to do with radiation. Yeah, because they'd have just got the Mark IV printed in US colours, that's all it is. So, and don't forget to like the stream, everybody, because I'm exposing myself to not very dangerous levels of radiation for this. No, I'm not anti-nuclear at all. I think nuclear power needs lots of very good safeguards around it because of how bad it can be potentially when it goes wrong, but it's a very cheap source of energy. So I'm all for nuclear in that regard. Yeah, Please do timeouts on this stream, Mike, because I said theme streams don't stay on theme if people keep talking about random shit that has nothing to do with what we're talking about. So I thought what would be a good thing to talk about on this one. The Polish DP66 I bought from B-Store on eBay years ago. This one was sent to me to SOX for free by a guy called Ziggy Jinx, who does metal detecting videos, but he was sent a Geiger counter and couldn't make use of it, so he asked me if I wanted it. Davy Crockett, as I've said before in the videos where I've covered tactical nuclear weapons, it's an interesting thing, but it's really stupid in terms of an actual device it's designed for, because obviously it was a very dangerous idea in the Cold War of using tactical nuclear weapons, because the chance that that would accelerate into full-blown nuclear war was pretty high if you start dropping very small nukes on the enemy. CBRN suits and NBC suits the exact same thing, it's just for some reason they call it CBRN now. Although, as I've said with other people, they shouldn't, because the R in CBRN means radiological, and most of this gear gives you no radiological protection whatsoever. I actually prefer the old term they used for ABC, which is atomic biological chemical, because, like with NBC, where N is for nuclear, and the A is for atomic, most of the stuff that you get protective-wise just protects you from, you know, like atomic dust, basically, fallout. It's not designed to protect you from gamma rays and whatever else. No, it'd be totally impossible to denuclearize the world. You could, in theory, get different nations to have agreements on lowering their amount of nuclear warheads or whatever, but you're never going to get everybody give up nukes. I don't know what Dark Docs is, Niam. But yeah, if you want something very grim to read, let me get the page up. Unethical Nuclear Experiments. Here we go. Unethical Human Experimentation in the United States. Let's read some of this bit. I've just said my thoughts on nuclear power about a minute ago, if you bothered listening. Sorry, I don't want to sound rude, but annoyingly in these streams a lot of people seem to be on and then never listen to anything I say. Right, human radiation experiments. This is where the US decided it would be a good idea to do pointless radioactive experiments on humans. So, to determine the effects of atomic radiation and radioactive contamination on the human body, generally on people who are poor, sick or powerless, most of these tests were performed, funded or supervised by the United States Military Atomic Energy Commission or various other US federal government agencies. These experiments included a wide array of studies involving things like feeding radioactive food to mentally disabled children, or conscientious objectors, inserting radium rods into the noses of school children, deliberately releasing radioactive chemicals over US and Canadian cities, measuring the health effects of radioactive fallout from nuclear bomb tests, injecting pregnant women and babies with radioactive chemicals, and irradiating the testicles of prison inmates, among other things. Yeah, don't forget to like the stream, everybody, because as I said, it does help out. What, as in the ship, the Windrush, or do you mean wind scale, Defiant Shackleton? Have you seen all the stupid videos from Chernobyl, Ween, where people go into the basement of the Pripyat hospital, and then they decide it's a good idea to start just like poking the fireman's outfits without protective gear on? Well, the thing is, and lots of these people were unaware they were being experimented on. Like with the school children one, they literally got the Quaker company to start making radioactive oats and things like that, and then give them to the children. Well, if it reaches midnight, we're dead, so I don't think it will, or I hope it doesn't. Yeah, basically every nation with nuclear weapons has done that rewarding name. America did them. Operation Plum Bob was the big one where America did that. But Britain did it as well, because my dad's uncle is somebody who's been fighting for years for compensation, because he's had lots and lots of, you know, like problems due to radiation sickness where they use them as human guinea pigs. It's called Fiestaware, Mr. J, and what that is where they used to paint plates with uranium glaze because they thought it made them look pretty. It's, this stuff, hang on. That's Fiestaware. And just to show you. As you can see, Fiestaware is pretty hot in terms of just being a little bit of pottery. Yeah, that's the one, Mechanised and Weaponized, the one where he's just got a little dust mask on and he's not even wearing gloves and he's physically handling the stuff. That guy is definitely not going to live to a good age, with how stupid he was in that video. Yeah, thank you, Laser Point Production. Yeah, it's weird, isn't it, how YouTube doesn't like certain comments, but thank you as usual for your donation. Not that I know of, Jacob. Yeah, they actually can arrest you and put you in prison now, can't they, if you try and smuggle stuff out the exclusion zone, as they should, I think. That area should just be left as it is. I mean, I think it's a good idea that people can see it and everything, and it's used for scientific study. But yeah, anybody that does not take that sort of stuff seriously really does deserve the fines and jail time for, you know, endangering people from just trying to smuggle out radioactive shit. Yeah, yeah. Glad it's useful for me again. Words I wanted weren't coming out there, but yeah. For anybody who hasn't seen it, here's the link. Read all through this sort of stuff if you want to see some of the fucked up stuff the US did. And like I said, Britain's done similar things, the Soviets did similar things. Yeah, basically they thought, wow, these people would be good to test radiation on, seeing as they don't want to fight for us. Oh, but the soldiers that are going to fight for us we're going to nuke as well, because we want to see what that does to them. They've already finished it, haven't they? They've got the massive metal cover, like the second sarcophagus over Reactor 4 now. So there's the original one, and then there's the massive new one they've built to go over it. And apparently that new one's meant to last over 100 years. Oh yeah, you're on about the radioactive Boy Scout. Yeah, I do know about that. It's, isn't that Americanium, not Californium? Because I've got some here. Hang on. Let me show it you. I'll get the Geiger counter out. And it's sunk right to the bottom of the bowl. Yep. Of course, being a sensible person, I'm handling it with my bare hands, but there's some Americanium. Yeah, but how can they dismantle the reactor? It already blew up. You can't really dismantle something that's already in debris. Yeah, I think it was something crazy like that, Mike. Didn't they have to build a couple of rail tracks on each side of it so they could, like, just build it at a safe distance, and then when it was fully assembled it was like a big prefab that basically was driven on rails over the reactor? All the ones from the civil defence poster are, there's a GP7 at that end, but GP5, PDF, PTM1, GP4, Y2K, another PTM1, and a GP5M. All on the poster. Okay, yeah, but what I mean is they're not sending people in, are they, to physically dismantle bits of the reactor, because there's not even any point doing that, considering, you know, it's safe where it is, basically, now. There's lots of very stupid videos on YouTube I've seen where people do really dumb stuff with radioactive stuff. Like I said, as much as I'd mess around with radiation as like the stuff I've got in this bowl, but I've seen some channels where they literally just stack up loads and loads of uranium ore in their living room, just for, you know, oh cool, because it makes my Geiger counter tick. I'm surprised some of those haven't even caused a criticality event if they've actually got that much uranium ore piled up. What, because of the graphite in the pencils? I've got several NBC suits. I don't have an actual hazmat suit, as in a hazmat A suit, whatever they're called, the air positive one. As said, if we can keep the stream talking more about radiation type stuff, that would be good, rather than just the general military stuff. What I'd love if there was somewhere I could just put this in front of an X-ray and leave it, you know, so it's safe, so you can then come back a few minutes later and see if it's actually gone up. Because I know this does move when it's in a bowl of radioactive stuff for long enough, but again, because this is in Rontgens and the stuff I've got in that bowl is very low in terms of radioactivity, in gamma radiation, it takes ages to see it move. I've got a thorium mantle here. That's a thorium mantle. Gas masks don't filter radiation. What a gas mask filter does is it filters fallout dust. So where you have irradiated dust after a nuclear bomb has gone off, or there's been an explosion and stuff has been contaminated, the filter physically blocks you from inhaling the dust that's radioactive. Apparently, I was on about with this with somebody earlier, Richard. There was a company that did a concept nuclear car and it worked using a thorium reactor in the car. But I imagine that would be ages before they're a mainstream thing. And as well, I don't think governments would like it, because you can't make petrol money tax on those, because, you know, the reactor outlives the car in it, basically. What do you mean, nuclearized biological weapons? Bioweapons and nuclear weapons are a separate thing. It'd be less than a sievert. A sievert's a pretty high thing. Do you mean a millisievert? Yeah, but you'd need an alpha probe to actually view radiation on a banana. I don't even have an alpha probe because they're really expensive. Yeah, if it was an actual full sievert, that'd be like 2 Rontgen, wouldn't it, a banana? Not very well, DYGI. It would cut it down a bit, but if you watch the videos where I was showing stuff blocking beta radiation, most proper NBC gear and stuff only cuts it down a little bit. Well, biological bomb and a dirty bomb are two different things. Biological implies it's like a virus or bacteria in it. Dirty bomb is where you basically get radioactive materials and you don't create a nuke with them, but you blow them up and disperse radioactive materials everywhere. Yeah, I think sometimes people get really lucky and they manage to find like an old civil defence Geiger with an alpha probe for like $100 or £100, but I've never been lucky enough to see one at that price. And again, now and again, people spot on eBay, and I've never seen them for UK sales, sadly, for like less than £200, a modern one like this, where they've just got the little alpha window you can close and open on the back. There's loads of things like that, Riley. The Americans did lots of things where they did mining nuke experiments, where they dig like a little hole, put a nuke down it to see if you could use it for excavation. It'd be pointless putting the two together, wouldn't it? Because the radiation would kill the bacteria. Depends on the type of radiation, Cringe Lord. Alpha, the suit and everything would filter out and the mask, but beta and gamma would still get them, because other than thick lead shielding, there's nothing you can do to stop gamma and X-rays. No, I don't know about that. That's interesting. Where's that Chernobyl monument? Is that actually in the zone, or is it somewhere else? As far as I'm aware, mate, radiation kills absolutely everything in high enough doses. Like, obviously, there are things like wasps and scorpions and cockroaches and things. I know they're not bacteria, but they can survive very high doses of radiation. But radioactive sterilization is something they do in certain labs to kill bacteria. Yeah, nuke map's very interesting, isn't it? Where you can check the fallout clouds and all that, and like how many people be injured and how big a fireball radius there'd be. Yeah, I've seen some of his videos popping up in my recommended, but I was getting annoyed Mechanized and Weaponized because YouTube was doing that thing where like 10 out of however many videos were just his because they were obviously pushing him. I've already said over and over and over again, Trailer Morph, I thought HBO's Chernobyl was excellent. One thing I keep seeing people say that should have been in the show is the elephant's foot, but they didn't actually know about that at the time. That was discovered in the 1990s, like scientific excavation, where they had to drill loads of holes in the reactor, like walls, and put cameras through. That's a very fascinating watch. It's on YouTube. But yeah, they didn't know about the elephant's foot until later on. So, you know, when people go like, why didn't they include the elephant's foot? Because nobody at the time knew about it. That's very interesting, isn't it? But fungi and mushrooms are really weird things, aren't they? I only found out, like, the other week, when Bart told me that, fungi is its actual own classification as thing. I always thought they were plants, but they're actually not. They're its own classification of thing. I imagine it's pretty solid, because it's basically lava that's solidified, so it's like concrete and radioactive fuel and everything that melted and then solidified. So the elephant's foot would be... It might be crumbly, but it's, you know, it's solid. As I've already said, this Geiger counter I didn't buy, I was given it. But you can get Geiger counters on eBay, Geiger counters on Amazon, there's sites that specialise in them. Actually, supposedly not. The reason they say could you taste metal at Chernobyl was because of the burning graphite. In places where there's really high radiation coming from a normal source, you won't have any taste. That's the scary thing with radiation. No taste, no smell, no feel, nothing, but it kills you. You'll definitely get headaches and nausea, but by that point, if you've been exposed to high radiation, you can't use it to get away from it, because you're already dead, basically. That's what I find so creepy about radiation, in a way. Without the devices to measure it, you have no clue it's there. You know. But it's oh, thanks again, Laser Point Productions, I appreciate it. No, I would not want to eat something that's come out of Chernobyl, for obvious reasons. Yeah, I've got the Polish one, that's like the Polish equivalent of the Soviet one. It's fairly good, but the problem with them is they're very heavy and clunky. You need loads of big D batteries to run them. You know, so the modern ones that just take AA batteries are so much more practical in terms of weight and size and everything, but... smoke alarms, but that's because of the Americanium in them. Bananas, as somebody else has already said. I think actual pure coffee does slightly as well. But the thing is, if you run a Geiger counter and there's no radiation around, you'll always pick up some radiation. You'll never anywhere on the Earth that's totally radiation free, but obviously it's more worrying about things that... But stuff like uranium ore, and there's lots of types of ore that contain contain radiation. There's radon gas as well. Yeah, do you mean the bit when they go into the pump room to drain the water? Yeah, if you look closely, they're wearing a rebreather attached to like that area of the diving suit, and that bit there's the exhale valve, because there's people going like, oh, they didn't attach the they didn't attach the air hose to the thing, but that's actually the exhale valve people are on about, not the airline. Well, they never did any nuclear tests in the UK. There was contamination from the Windscale fire, and before the Windscale fire when the reactors there were leaking. The closest thing to like stuff like that is there's a couple of military firing ranges that are off limits to the public. And there's an island off of Scotland where they did anthrax testing, but again, that's not a nuclear thing. Oh, are you on about BioNerd Golden Opportunity? Because, yes, she does lots of stupid things in her videos. She's got, like, over 100,000 subscribers, and some of her videos are quite interesting, but yeah, picking up graphite with your bare hands. You know, like what the firemen do in episode 1 of Chernobyl. Yep. If you're close enough to radioactive stuff for long enough, you will get radiation poisoning. Because that's just how radiation works. If it's emitting alpha, beta, and gamma, and you inhale or ingest the alpha, or you, you know, are close enough to the beta or the gamma, you will be affected by it. The video I was saying about with her, though, is the one where she, to demonstrate a pen like this, gets loads and loads and loads of uranium ore and sticks it in the middle, and you could actually cause a criticality event from what I'm aware of with uranium ore doing that. Because obviously the thing is with uranium ore is that if you have enough uranium in close proximity, again it might have to be refined uranium, you can get a criticality where you get like a chain reaction going off because of all the radioactive materials next to each other. Right, see you, Niam. Right, in lower levels you just get nausea and sickness and you generally recover, although you might have increased rates of cancers and other illnesses. When you get something called acute radiation syndrome, when it kills you, that's where it basically stops your body's ability to repair itself. Because basically the human body, the cells constantly like regenerate and repair bits of the body. So, what happens with acute radiation syndrome is basically your body falls apart while you're still alive. Like all your organs fail, you know, your skin starts dying and everything because your body just can't replace the bits that are going wrong. Yeah, I'll get the Polish one out in a minute, but sadly I don't think it's going to work very well. Yeah, they called it the Russian woodpecker, didn't they, the Duga? That's my coffee gone, let's get the Geiger. Right, circuit check okay. Now let's see if we can get it working. Oh, the needle's moving. Let's open it up. If it carries on working, I'll get the headphone plugged into it so you can hear it go if I can get it to open up now. Right, let me pop this on the desk, and then we will put the headphone into it. So just give me a second. And hopefully it carries on working. Because the annoying thing of this Geiger counter often seems to be that sometimes it just randomly stops working. Like some days it will work perfectly, and other times it doesn't. Oh, and I'm already getting the problem, I'm afraid, where the needle is going back to 0 on it, despite the fact the probe hasn't moved. So sadly, I think it's playing up. Let me just mess about with the settings a minute. Alright, let's put it back on circuit check. I think the needle's moving again. Right. Let's see if it will carry on working long enough that I can demonstrate the headphones with it. But sadly, I think it's not going to work very well, because as said, the old Geigers are a bit shit in terms of, you know, they're just so big and clumsy that's why the modern things are so much better, because, you know, you want something the size of a smartphone, not something the size of a car battery. They're D batteries, the old one. The new one's AAAs, or AA's, whichever one it is. I've wound this cable up way too efficiently around this. Give me a second. Yeah, and it stopped responding again. I'm pretty sure it's fake, because the actual thing they did with the elephant's foot was stick cameras and like a big long cable down there to check it. I don't think anybody's ever gone into the room with the elephant's foot. I don't know if they've even excavated enough that you can go into the room with the elephant's foot. Right, let's see if I can get this to work. I'll put the thing by the microphone. Well, I bet you this Geiger's not going to work now, because it always likes to fucking play up when I try and actually make use of it in a video. No idea why, but, you know, that's just life, isn't it? Right. Let me just move the wand slightly. Right, let's turn it off and on and see if I can get it working. Right, circuit check. Okay. Now let's go to 0.5 millirontgen. And again, now I've set it up, it's not working. Just to prove that I do actually have it out, but now it's being a dick again. Is that the one with Ouchie, Lockrocks, the guy who they kept alive as a radiation guinea pig? If so, we were talking about him the other day. But sadly, I don't think the old Geiger counter is going to work. That's why, as I've said to people, if you want a Geiger counter, get a modern one. Don't mess about with the old ones. Unless you're really, really into stuff like that, because they have a tendency to just stop working all of a sudden. I'm just going to see if I can do anything with this just to get it working, but sadly I think it's pretty fucked, this Geiger. It seems to want work when it wants to work, otherwise it just stops working all of a sudden. Now let's just have it with the gamma probe. No, still nothing. Yeah, wow, like I said, there's a reason nobody used the big old clunky Geiger counters anymore. Take the cable out, kind of, but that's not going to do anything. That's just where you can put it on the big long probe, you know, that you sweep around like a broom. Alright, let me just turn this off again a second. It's weird that the circuit check seems to always work, but it doesn't want to, let me just take this Geiger counter off of there a second, because I want to make sure I'm not hearing that tick when I'm trying to get this one going. Right, I'm just going to disassemble the probe a minute. If I can actually get the other bit to untwist now. Or have I done it up too efficiently last time I did it up? Alright, circuit check, A-OK. Oh, hang on. The needle's moving slightly there. Yeah, it's decided it's going to work again now. So there's the probe like that. Let's just put this bit back up onto the probe. There we go. Right, let's see if it carries on working. No, it stopped again. Bastard, stopped working again. Right, let's go back to circuit check. Leave it on circuit check for a minute. Yeah, as said Alex, those people probably deserve the cancers like they get. I know that's a horrible thing to say, but if you are that kind of, you know, stupid about dealing with extreme radiation stuff, it's a Darwin Award, isn't it? And again, the Geiger's not working. Why does it like to just fucking stop working all of a sudden for no reason? I cannot tell you. Yeah, it could very well be a cable thing, I don't know. Tell you what, let's take this bit back off, because it actually seemed to work better, didn't it, when it was just like this. Yeah, it's definitely not running at the moment. Ooh. Sure, that was dust coming off of there. Yeah, rather than smoke. Yeah, look at that, dust comes off. Thank you again, Laser Point Production, I do appreciate it. But yeah, I'm just seeing if I can get this running at the moment, which is always distracting when I'm trying to do a stream and I get distracted seeing if I can get something like this to actually work. It's just weird to me that the circuit check always works, and it generally seems to work for a little bit and then it stops. Alright, let's go back on to 0.5. No, nothing. Let's try the bowl. No, nothing. So the Geiger's not working. Brilliant. I really don't know what it is with this Geiger where it seems to randomly work for a bit and then stop. It is frustrating. Yeah, this is always really annoying. This is kind of annoying because when I'm trying to do the stream now, every time people ask me to get this Geiger out, it always just distracts me where I'm trying to get it running and it just never seems to want to work. I wonder if I smack it if it'll work. Because it's, you know, is Russian technology. The thing is, it annoys me though that it doesn't work. Because I love the retro ticking noise this Geiger makes, but you know. Let's just turn it off a minute. I'm just working out if I can get that bit off of it, just to see if I can get the wires back in tight. But just seeing if I can get this collar off, but it's really stiff. No. Right, let's leave him on circuit check for a little bit. And then slowly go round to 0.5. There we go. And it stopped working again. See, it's just randomly stopped working. It works and it doesn't. I just don't fucking get this. Let's see if I can just balance that on the thing. And then I'll play about with it some more. Yeah, as I said, it's just, I don't know what it is, it's just really shitty where it keeps honking out. When I first had it, I didn't have any problems with it at all, but now it just, there we go. To see if I can mess about with the wire or anything. But it doesn't seem to be a wire problem. Now it's back again. I'm just messing about with this to see if it's like a wire angle that stops it working, but it doesn't seem to be, look. Oh, and he's cutting out again. Isn't that strange? Now it's working again. That's what I'm thinking, is it the actual direction the probe's in? Which shouldn't be the case, but that's what I'm sort of thinking. Is it that if the probe's like that, it works fine, but... It's actually a post-Soviet model, funnily enough. This is a Polish one made after the fall of the Cold War, but it's still the exact same model as the current Cold War, well, the one they made during the Cold War. Oh, has it stopped again? Yeah, it stopped working again, randomly. Now it's working again. When I'm pulling the spring, it's working. I don't know if that's a coincidence or not. Let's try and take some more radioactive samples now. It seems to be somewhat working, this Geiger counter. Now has it stopped again? Yeah, it seems to have... Oh! Ow, that hurt. I just pulled the spring and it came off. Well, that's that spring no longer on there. But, will the Geiger counter still work? Oh yeah, it's still working, that's good. Right, let's just leave that Geiger ticking there for now. Looks like that might make my hand bleed in a moment, but oh well. If the Geiger works, it was worth it. Oh no, it's stopping again. Because if somebody outside of the US has one for sale, you can get one. That's just how it works. Yep, they painted the watch dials, didn't they? And they lick the brushes and paint their teeth and nails with it, and they died of all sorts of horrible cancers. And then the company said it was nothing to do with the radium. It's like, oh, they're sluts. That's why they're dying from radiation poisoning. It's not radiation, it's syphilis. You can't get rid of radiation. You can only block your thyroid and stuff like that, but you can't actually get rid of radiation. Ooh, that's good. The thorium's really making it go quite high. Let me just do that with the probe. That's cool, mechanised and weaponised. Yeah, isn't the Trinity site only open for like part of the year for tourists, otherwise it's a closed off site? That's right, I've got a chunk of the Berlin Wall over there, actually, because somebody bought me back a chunk when they went to Berlin, because they sell it over there. Yeah, the thorium's fairly hot anyway. What else have we got there to have a look at? Let's see if the old watch dial makes it tick. Yeah, there we go. That's cool. Have you got a Geiger counter to test it with, Laserpoint Productions? And thanks again. Here's another old radium dial, but I don't think this one does anything with the Geiger. Because I think this one mostly only just gives off alpha. Yeah, this one barely does anything. Let's test this Geiger count with the Americinium, or Mericinium, whatever it's called. Oh look, I've managed to balance that bit of thing inside the probe. Let's put that back in the bowl. Yeah, the actual uranium glass makes it tick like that. Oh, thank you very much, Hotshot. Remember, Hotshot, if you want to ask for, if you've not got one already, a Discord server invite, ask it on another video and post your Discord ID. Wonder how hot that radioactive glass is compared to this other uranium glass I've got. So, this bit of uranium glass is at 0.5, sitting about, let me just get it at an angle where it's really close to the window. About 30 on there. Let's see what this one does. About 30 as well, so actually it's given a very similar reading. Actually it's a little bit higher on this one. That's probably because it's just more of a mass with the glass. No, I don't have any iodine pills. Yep. James's Dacia Sandero, the car I have, although I have the slightly better model, was the only car to survive the zone. Good old Dacia, eh? And that's the Fiesta wear again. Just because, lol. Alright, hang on, let me see if I can quickly do it now, Hotshot. Because it's better if you do it in a regular video comment, but let me see if I can get it to work now. Right, give me a second. I'll try and open Discord while holding my Geiger counter. Right. I have to click the Friends tab, don't I? And then click Add Friend, enter Discord tag, send friends request. Yeah, Hotshot, your friends request has been sent. So if you accept that for me later, I'll invite you to the server. There we go. The poster behind me has lots of the Soviet civil defense masks on it and guides on how to measure your face and put them on and like check for problems with a mask and stuff like that. But yeah, at 5 millirontgens per hour, it's about 75 at the moment. Well, as I said, I'd really like to get a Geiger counter with an alpha probe, and thanks again, Laserpoint Production. But the problem is, at the moment, as I said, there doesn't seem to be that many models available. That air quality detector thing's quite interesting. I took it out in the fields today, and yeah, the fields where my hay fever's worse have a much higher particle reading, so that is interesting. So that's doing its job. But yeah, at some point, if I spot them for a good price, I'll definitely want to get a Geiger counter with an alpha probe. It's millirontgens, not If I go to 0.5 rontgen per hour, notice that it almost stops ticking because the Fiesta wear is so minimal at 0.5 rontgen per hour that you can't even see the needle move. And at 50 millirontgen per hour, the needle just sits only ever so slightly above 0. I have to actually put it onto the 0.5 setting to get any real joy out of this. But oh, again, the thing's conked out again. Well, it was good while it lasted. Let me just do that with the wire and see if it will start again. No. Well, the old Polish one, that was like 60 quid when I bought it, but these are now like over 100. Oh, now it's working again for some reason. Yeah, the one I have does formaldehyde, particulates, and what was the other one it did? Something compounds, wasn't it? No, I don't know of any Soviet civil defense books, and they probably wouldn't be in English, would they, if they existed? Unless you got a translated one. I'll make sure I finish the stream in a few minutes, because I'll have a video going live at 5 o'clock, and I don't want people to be on the stream and not watch that, and then YouTube punishes my channel because people aren't watching your new video. Yeah, I'll keep my eyes open to see if I find one of those, because I'll definitely do it like, you know, one of the modern ones, because it makes a lot more sense, as I said, to get something like this that can just check for alpha than one of the older ones, just because of how temperamental they are. But yeah, a bunker, enough concrete and lead stops gamma. So yeah, enough walls between you and a source of gamma radiation, you can stop it. Yeah, as said, Mike, I'm going off in a minute anyway, but thanks for watching. Volatile organic compounds, that's exactly it, Laserpoint Production. The one tonight, I'm pretty sure, is the one with the BEM 4GP, testing it with various helmets, because somebody asked me in a stream ages ago if I could do that, so I filmed a video on it. So it's just where I'm like testing it with different riot helmets and things like that. But yeah, should it be interesting for people who find gas masks interesting. Right, anyway, yeah, as said, I'll go offline now. You can listen to the Geiger counter tick as I go offline. Thanks for the stream, everybody. It's been enjoyable, even though a lot of it's just been messing about with the Geiger counter, seeing if I could get it to work, and at least it is working at the moment, so there's that. And thank you, Laserpoint, for all your donations, as always. I appreciate it. And thank you, Hotshot, as well. I've sent you a friend's request on Discord, so I'll invite you to the server a bit later if you add me on there. And then, yeah, well, American reactors nowadays are much better than things like Soviet RBMK reactors. Oh, cheers, thank you. I do appreciate that, as always, because as I said, it pays for stuff like this, and because obviously this came today. you could say that you've paid a bit towards that. So thank you again, I do appreciate it. And I'll stream tomorrow. Tomorrow I'll probably stream in the evening, like 8 or 9 PM UK time. So I'll see you all then. But yeah, thank you everybody, see ya.